Hey beauties, it's Riri. If you're new here, I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty and I love showcasing indie brands here on my channel. If that sounds like your cup of tea or your double shot, please consider subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up before you leave. If you want to see a little bit more of me, and why wouldn't you, then turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Today is part 2 of our palette declutter. We have 25 more palettes today. I'm going to try to get through these a little quicker than the last one. We re-upped on some makeup wipes. Again, I don't always use makeup wipes. They're more convenient. I'm not gonna lie to do this. So we're gonna dive in very quickly. I will do some swatches. If it is brand new, of course, I'm not gonna swatch it for you guys because why would I touch it if I'm gonna get rid of it? We're gonna dive in. And first up, right on top is from Rouge Labs. It is the Can I Exist palette. I love Rouge Labs. I have been with her since the very beginning. I love her so much. The thing that I love the most about Rouge Labs is the intention that is put behind every single launch. Like for instance with an 80s theme or a 90s theme or whatever the theme may be. So often, especially with mainstream brands, they'll throw in bright colors and call it a 90s palette. Whereas Marianne really takes her time. She focuses on the artwork. She focuses on the details. She creates music playlists to go along with her launches. Everything about her is just beautiful. And she has this very cool, grungy aesthetic. I'm obsessed. But this is the Can I Exist palette, and of course I will show it to you. Every single palette from her that I mentioned, I of course have an entire playlist of Rouge Labs. You can also use code RIRI10, non-affiliated, to get 10% off. But I have looks using every single palette, so if you're ever curious about a palette, I have looks. So this is the Can I Exist palette. I really like the mix of warm tones and cool tones. Her pan size is humongous. I really enjoyed this palette a whole lot. I will of course swatch a couple for you. I feel like she has a very smooth formula and also one that is quite long lasting. Overall, I just love the brand as a whole. I love the aesthetic of everything. I love the quality of everything. Her price points are great. I kind of had the intention of having the entire Rouge Labs collection, but the truth of the matter is that once I've showcased it a few times and have a few looks already up, it's kind of old news in the beauty realm, and I'm not necessarily a collector of makeup, meaning, like someone that might have 200 ColourPop, palettes because they want to collect every single one. That's not me. I'm really, you guys know this, I'm trying to, especially moving forward into the new year, and because we moved into a very small home, I'm really trying to cut down, and I really want to keep like my top favorite items. So for that reason, and for that reason only, I am going to go ahead and declutter this one. So that is the first one in our declutter pile. Next up is a palette you guys recently saw. It would be up before this video is, and it's the look I have on right now. It is the Perfect Cosmetics Carnival Pro palette. It is a bright rainbow palette with a little bit of neutrals as well, and then there are also highlight shades. I think because I have another one of the Carnival palettes, I will look at that one though. And then I also have a little bit more colorful palettes. I know I have the So Jaded palette. I know that I have the Empress Me palette. I have, for me, enough colorful palettes, and they're not always what I reach for and gravitate toward. I've only used it twice. It has a lot of love left to give. I want to pass this along while it still has a lot of love left to give. And again, I'm really trying to keep what I know I'm going to use consistently, and I really want to downsize my collection greatly. So for that reason, we're also going to pass this one along. Next up is, I believe, last year's holiday palette from Pat McGrath. But this is the Pat McGrath Labs, the Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey Artistry Palette. I really like Pat McGrath Labs. I really think that they have a beautiful formula. I like that they have different types of formulas. They have like satins, and they have creams, and they have sparkles and stuff like that. I love the packaging. As you can see, it is a beautiful color story. I feel like it's slightly sporadic, and I am personally somebody that really likes way more mattes and way more depth in a palette. She has a beautiful formula. I really enjoyed the couple of looks that I did with this, and I will swatch a couple for you guys. I just don't reach for it, so I think because of that reason and that reason only, I am going to pass it along. There's no negative feelings associated with it or anything like that. As you can see, these two shades are gorgeous. Again, I'm trying to be cutthroat. I'm trying to be really meticulous in picking and keeping palettes that I know that I reach for over and over again, and also kind of knowing what I have so that I do reach for my products. So we are also going to pass this one along. Next up is the Be Perfect Cosmetics Carnival, the Antidote palette. This one I definitely prefer over the other one. I've used this one a couple of times. It's definitely more like, if you know, you know. I love anything that's grunge, greens, golds. I also love really rich, warm toned eyeshadow looks, oranges and yellows and stuff. So this one I definitely prefer over the more colorful one. I love this palette. I think it is absolutely stunning. I will swatch a couple for you, of course. Again, I think they have a beautiful formula. They have a very soft, blendable, matte formula. I think they last I think they're long lasting, so I'm definitely holding on to this one. Next up is one of my all-time favorite palettes, So Jaded palettes from ColourPop and Kathleen Lights. And I have used the literal heck out of this palette. I love, 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 love this palette. This, for me, was the ColourPop palette that actually made me really start to like ColourPop. Kind of from the very beginning when they first started the brand, I jumped on board and bought a bunch of Super Shock shadows. Loved those. Was obsessed. The first two palettes I got from them, I hated. Did not like them. They were powdery. They looked ashy on my skin. They did not last very well. I will say, I hold true to that part of it. I don't feel like they're as long lasting, and that's super, super important for me. But just the color story in here, the layout, the way that you can kind of do very soft, very neutral, these beautiful topper shades, chef's kiss. But you can also go very cool tone. You can go grunge. I love it. I know they no longer sell this palette, but it's phenomenal. Like this shade Diamond right here, I don't know if you guys could tell how much I used of it. It is this beautiful, like very sheer little topper. But this, on top of anything, is absolutely stunning. It is like little sparkly glass. It's phenomenal. I will swatch Fluorite and let's swatch Turquoise. But this definitely is the palette that really made me kind of fall in love with ColourPop and really kind of view them in a different light, so to speak. This palette is phenomenal. And I feel like kind of moving forward from this palette, I really could see that they are a very consistent brand, and I think that's why so many people love them. They come out with 6,812 collections a year. Slow down, please, ColourPop, okay? But I really think they do collections well, and this is a favorite, keeping, not going anywhere, love. Next up is the Jaclyn Hill Palette Volume 2 from Morphe. I am not going to swatch this or anything like that, and I'm also not going to keep it. This is a brand that I have not supported for a long time. You support who you want to. That is a personal choice for myself. It is good quality. They are an affordable brand. I just don't like specific things that they have done. It performed well. It's a beautiful palette. I'm not going to keep it. Moving along. Next up, this is my second favorite palette from Rebel Rouge Labs. Is the As the World Falls Down. It was her Labyrinth inspired palette. It was one of her latest drops, other than the bubblegum blush palette, which I'm hoping to get. You'll know before you see this whether or not I was able to get it. It's so damn pretty, you guys. Anyways, we're gonna dive in. This is like my dream, especially fall palette, but again, grungy, goldy, greens. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. I love it. I love the packaging, the names: Crystal Ball, Piece of Cake, Ludo, Lancelot, Goblin Fruit, The Babe, Dance Magic, Oublette. So I will swatch a couple for you. I'll do Dance Magic and Oublette. And I have to tell you, her black in here, the Oublette, girl, you did the damn thing on this black. This is like the most inky black that I've ever seen in a palette. Like Empress Me has a phenomenal black, but this one is right there with it as far as being like my favorite. And you can see it has a little bit of a sheen to it. So it blends out so incredibly well. Her formula is long lasting on the lids. Y'all know that's super important to me. I love this palette. I love that there's depth. I love that there's a light shade and a dark shade. I feel like anybody could use this palette. I love it. It's not going anywhere. Moving on. Next up, I'll go through the rest of the Rebel Rouge Labs palettes that are right in front of me. My holy grail from her, number one, is the Howlin' For You. Favorite, love it, obsessed. I didn't happen to grab it in the pile. I literally just grabbed palettes and came up here. But I will quickly run through each of them. We have the Prelude to Agony. Again, the artwork, the covers, the theming, the intention, fantastic. This is another, again, she leans a little bit more kind of grungy. I really, really love this palette. Again, I'm trying to be very cutthroat, and I was trying to just collect every palette from her. I don't need to, and I know that I don't need to. I'm supportive. I love her. I love her brand, but I do not reach for this all the time, and I do have looks up already. I will definitely swatch a couple for you. We have Sacred and Euphoric. Again, very beautiful, very smooth matte formula. They're very long lasting on the lids. I'm gonna go ahead and pass this along. Oh my God, popcorn. Ugh. I would normally cut this part out, you guys, like me transitioning into stuff, but my dog is right beside me right there. And look, I still cannot smell 100% from COVID, and it's making me very nauseous. That's terrible. Oh my God. All right, next up we have Gods and Monsters. We have Suspended in Dusk, and we have Losing My Religion. Here is Losing My Religion. Here is Suspended in Dusk. Again, the artwork, the intention, the names, the theming. I love this palette so much. That is Suspended in Dusk. And then we have Gods and Monsters. She is also cruelty-free, just to note. And that is Gods and Monsters. Now, of these three palettes, let me try to show them together if I can possibly do that. Realistically, I have a favorite of the three, and that's definitely this one. Again, a little bit more grungy greens. I love this one so much. So I am going to keep Suspended in Dusk, and then I'll pass along Gods and Monsters. This kind of... Let me grab it. Hold, please. I want to see something. Okay. I just wanted to kind of compare this because just opening it up right now and seeing it, it very much reminded me of the ABH Nouveau palette. And now they're not the same, but there's like a pretty champagne-y shade. There's some beautiful greens, neutrally shades, and then the lilac-y shade. Okay. Okay. I love that. So... this could be an alternative to that. I am going to go ahead and get rid of both of these. Losing My Religion and the Gods and Monsters. That is what those two palettes look like. Next up, I have two palettes from Udin's Eye. I have the Giant Wolves palette in collaboration with Annette. I love watching Annette. She also has hooded lids. I really love her. I get a lot of inspiration from her. I think she's phenomenal. Love her personality. And we have the Hala palette from Udin's Eye and Angelica Nyqvist. Also really love her. They have one of my all-time favorite formulas. Again, thoughtfulness, intention, beautiful, stunning packaging, the artwork, the theming, the names. Obsessed. Obsessed. I love that it's a cool, unique color story. They blend incredibly well. They're very long lasting on the lids. It's a phenomenal formula, you guys. And I've not been disappointed in either one of these purchases. I think they are a fantastic brand. So keeping for sure, love. And then this one right here, also have used the heck out of it. I really love this one too. I think that they can do no wrong. I think they're a wonderful, incredible brand. Yeah, I love them. I can't say enough. I don't think that they get enough hype. I feel like they are a brand that deserves all the freaking hype in the entire world. Definitely keeping both. All right, next up, and if we get too long, y'all, I'm trying to keep these under 35 minutes. I'm trying my best, you guys. But I know you guys wanted more in-depth and up close and some swatches and stuff like that. So I'm really trying to make sure that I do that for you guys. But if it gets too long, y'all know what I say. Grab your tacos and tequila, your milk and your cookies, your Doritos, your Cheetos, your Fritos, whatever is your pleasure, and sit back and relax and enjoy the show. I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. Next up is my Scooby-Doo palette by Glamlight. This is the Creeps and Crawls palette. They're in like my top 5 for sure of all-time favorite brands. Absolutely love. They kill it every single time. They kill the collaborations. Their packaging, again, that thoughtfulness, intention, the shade names, and their formula. Supreme. supreme formula, you guys. Their mattes are incredibly pigmented. They blend well. They're buttery. They last a very, very long time on the skin. And their shimmer formula is one of the best on the market, in my opinion. Fantastic formula. If you have been sleeping on Glamlight, and you guys, they're also an indie brand. They're a woman-owned indie brand. And they have a phenomenal price point as well. Look how stunning that is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely keeping this one. Love, 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 love. I will say that in this particular palette, there is quite a bit of staining. If you're somebody that does not like staining at all, it doesn't bother me any. It's typically gone by the next day. But I wouldn't recommend if you don't like staining, but definitely keeping. Love. Next up is another Pat McGrath Labs palette. This is the Pat McGrath Labs Mothership Sublime Bronze Ambition little mini palette. Again, I really think she has beautiful packaging. I feel like the quality is there. The longevity is there. I think I am going to hold on to this one, and I will swatch a couple of these for you, of course. I think she has a beautiful formula. We have like a more metallic, a sequin formula, and then one of her mattes. I should have wiped these off better, the other ones. Very glass-like, very long-lasting, very easy to blend. I think I'm going to keep this one just because I did declutter the other one, and I do like to travel with this one. This is like the perfect kind of grab-and-go everyday type of palette, if you will, so gonna hold on to this one. Next up are my two palettes from Lois Cosmetics. We have the Meet Me at Midnight and the Meet Me in the Underworld. Also an indie brand. Oh yeah, a lot of these are indie brands. And I've purchased everything myself thus far. I believe that I've shown. The only Rebel Rouge Labs palette that I don't think I purchased myself is the Howlin' For You. If I'm wrong in any way, I'll definitely post it for you guys, but I do not sell anything that was given to me in PR. That's what my PIF is for. But the first one that I got was this one right here. This was their first launch, and they're a UK-based brand. I'm 99% sure, but this is the Meet Me in the Underworld. Very much a Riri palette. Very much a light to dark, very much grungy and greens and golds. Phenomenal quality, you guys. I was blown away, absolutely blown away by this. And of course, I loved this so much that I bought the second one that she came out with. Again, beautiful formula, blends well, long lasting on the lids. And of course, I mean, I love supporting indie brands. Definitely holding on to this. Really love this palette. Definitely was a standout for me. Super happy to have this. And the next one was the Meet Me at Midnight. This one right here, truthfully, I don't know why I got it. I know because I loved this so much. This is not me. This is not a traditional color story for me. As you can see, it's much more cool tone. Still beautiful. I did enjoy using it. Just solely for the purpose that I don't think I'm going to use it that much and get a lot of use out of it. I am going to pass it along, but I will say, you guys, please don't sleep on indie brands. Please don't sleep on this brand. I think it's a beautiful palette. I just know me, and I know I'm not going to use it, so we'll pass that one along as well. Next up, we have a couple of palettes from Nomad Cosmetics. Another one of my all-time favorite brands. Another well-curated, well-thought-out, intentional indie brand. Their whole premise is being nomadic, being a traveler, and then them really taking inspiration and focusing on the inspiration from their travels to create their palettes and collections. This one right here was gifted to me. Thank you to Nomad Cosmetics. This is the Santa's Village palette. This is their latest launch. This was not my favorite. When I did the couple looks that I did swatches and stuff. I posted on my Instagram, and I definitely noted, I understand that they said that the shimmers in here were more toppers. This was hard to work with. The mattes were just fine in it, but this is the palette that I like the least from Nomad Cosmetics. You can barely get anything out. And I mean, I scraped and scraped and scraped and scraped. You can see even in these couple of shades where I really, really tried to dig into them, and there was like no pigmentation. And I understand again that they're supposed to be more like topper shades, but you have to literally dig in here. And I didn't like it for that purpose. It still created a really pretty look. The mattes, their matte formula, and traditionally their shimmer formula or their metallic formula is phenomenal. This was not my favorite. Not horrible, but not, in my opinion, up to kind of their level of quality. Like, they're typically a 10 out of 10. And this just did not do that for me personally. So we're going to pass that along. Next up is the Lago di Como palette. This one right here is on par with what I'm used to for them and for their level of quality. This one right here definitely is a beautiful, beautiful palette. That is what those look like. This palette I did purchase myself. They did have like a big sale, so I jumped at the chance to get it. I will say only because I've kept more green palettes, and I know that I still have more green palettes because they're my favorite, greens with golds and stuff. I am going to go ahead and pass this one along. Next up is another indie brand, of course. It is Gourmand Girls, another one of my all-time favorites. I do have a code. It is RIRI10 for 10% off. That one is affiliated. I do also have one with Nomad. It's RIRI10 as well. That one is not affiliated, but this is the Ethereal palette. First of all, aesthetically, beautiful. Also a cruelty-free brand. This one was gifted to me. Thank you so much to Gourmand Girls. This palette right here, it's a little pricey. It was a little pricey, and at first I was like, whew, okay, do I want to promote something that's this small, but this pricey? And the answer was yes. It is full of sparkly, glimmery, duochromes, multi-chromes, high shine, very fold shadows. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. And I've used this multiple times, layered them on top of one another, done just a sweep of color. I've done a black base and a white base and put the different ones on top. They are stunning, you guys. I'm going to swatch Pure and Astrid for you. And sometimes I know that like the light can kind of blow a shadow out and not really show kind of how reflective it is and how beautiful it is, but these are so stunning, you guys. It looks so beautiful on top of other shades. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna go right here into Astrid. Even though I'm literally gonna film and then take this off. Oh my gosh. I mean, do you see the difference? Look how beautiful that is, you guys. Yeah, I love this palette so much. And I'm normally not, if you guys know, I'm not a fan typically of like all shimmer. I'd rather go into like my JD Glow like single shadows because I don't really like all shimmer palettes. I'm definitely a more matte heavy fan, if you will, but I'm happy to have this. I think it's incredible. I think it's absolutely stunning. I feel like she nailed it with this, so definitely keeping this one. Next up is the Bella Cosmetics, the Shades of Roses palette. And this is what it looks like. I think I just swatched this once, or maybe I used it one time only. This is what it looks like. I will swatch a couple for you. We will do Ballerina, and I will do Daring. So Ballerina and Daring. I really don't remember my thoughts with this because I have only used it one time. It's not really a color story that I kind of gravitate toward. Again, I kind of have my preferences. I feel like it has a lot of love left to give, so we are going to pass this one along. All right, y'all, 3 more palettes in this section of the declutter. In part 2, we have a few Urban Decay palettes. I have the Urban Decay Naked Cyber. We have the Urban Decay Naked Honey. And the Urban Decay Born to Run. So I will show you this one first. This one is the Cyber palette. The packaging and everything kind of is what drew me in. I thought it was very aesthetically pleasing. And the color story, I loved it online. I loved the few looks that I saw other people create. However, in my personal opinion, it's just too light. It is incredibly light. Like basically, in my opinion, these are all very similar, like tonally. And this does not offer enough depth for me, personally. I typically really love their formula, like Naked Honey, spoiler alert, one of my favorites, love. This was just a no. It was just a no for me. I don't feel like this was a very inclusive palette, so for that reason only, I'm going to pass it along. Next up is the Urban Decay Naked Honey. This palette I love. When I first got it, I used it and used it and used it. Aesthetically, absolutely stunning. Excuse the train. Aesthetically beautiful. This one does offer a light to dark. I feel like it offers depth. I love this palette. I think it's so stunning. I really love this palette so much. And that is definitely my vibes. You know, obviously warm tones, warm tone neutrals. I feel like these blend really well. They don't have the most high shine, you know, most fold type of a glimmer shade or a shimmer of a shimmer formula. That doesn't bother me. I feel like they perform well and they last a long time on the lids as well, and that's very important to me, as you guys know. So keeping this one, the Born to Run, one of my holy grail palettes. This was actually one of my top palettes one year. This feels so incredibly heavy and well made. I really like the blend of more warm tones and then a like cool tone side. I think because I know that I have enough and I've kept enough, I will swatch a couple for you guys though. I think because I know that I've kept enough and I have plenty with these particular shades in them, we're going to go ahead and pass that one along as well. And y'all, that is it. Let me count everybody up. I actually decluttered more in this than I kept. I'm pretty sure. I'll BRB. All right, beauties. First of all, I'm a dum-dum and I only pulled 24 palettes, so I counted wrong, so there weren't 25. I'm pretty sure yesterday's was also only 24. I'm sorry. But I only kept 11 and I'm decluttering 13 this time around. I think I'm doing great. Sound off down below. Let me know how you think I'm doing. Are some of these your holy grails? Have you tried some of these and they were just a meh for you? I love you, beauties. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.